Our story begins with Kinjiro, a normal high school boy whose nose bleeds whenever he's touched by women. This rare condition of his developed as a self-defense mechanism against his mother and little sister, who used Kinjiro as a punching bag throughout his childhood to practice wrestling moves. But on one particular day, Kinjiro heads to the boys' restroom and accidentally walks in on Subaru, which is not a car, but rather the most popular boy in school who's wearing a pair of women's panties. Kinjiro is surprised to find out that the boy beloved by all the girls in school is secretly a pervert, but he decides that it's none of his business and simply walks away. Subaru, on the other hand, doesn't want his secret to get out and threatens to erase Kinjiro's memory by force. Kinjiro stands his ground, however, and ready to fight, only to immediately sprint away with Subaru chasing after him. But when a jar is about to fall on Subaru's head, Kinjiro leaps in to save him and quickly realizes that Subaru is actually a girl after accidentally groping her chest. In response, Subaru throws a fire extinguisher at Kinjiro, which knocks him unconscious. He wakes up moments later in the school infirmary with Kanade, Subaru's master, laying next to him. She reveals that she bribed the nurse to leave so they could have the infirmary all to themselves, and after teasing Kinjiro for a bit, Kanade explains that the men in Subaru's family have served her family for generations, but since Subaru is an only child and a girl, she must cross-dress as a boy to attend high school and continue serving as Kanade's butler. If Subaru's true gender is ever found out, she'll be forced to quit being a butler and drop out of school too. As such, Kanade threatens Kinjiro to keep this secret between them, and in return, she will help him cure his rare medical condition that causes him to fear women. The next day, however, rumors begin spreading around school that Kinjiro and Subaru are dating due to them being seen together. This draws the attention of Subaru's fan club, who attempts to attack Kinjiro, only to be stopped by a member of a different Subaru fan club who fantasizes about the two men dating. To make matters worse, Kanade decides to send Kinjiro on a practice this date with Subaru in an attempt to cure his condition. After school, Kinjiro is surprised to see how cute Subaru looks when she's not dressed as a boy and takes her out on a date at the arcade, where he wins her a cute sheep plushie. Near the end of the date, Kanade calls Subaru and forces her to let Kinjiro touch her chest once again in an attempt to cure his condition, but Kinjiro is suddenly kicked in the head by Kurei, his little sister. Subaru is fearful that someone else has found out her secret, but it turns out that Kurei actually believes that Subaru is a boy cross-dressing as a girl to seduce her brother. She then attacks Subaru, but she easily deflects this, sending Kurei running back home in tears. Kinjiro returns home as well and expects his little sister to suplex him as usual, but instead finds a mutilated teddy bear, which worries him greatly. The next day at school, Kinjiro helps Subaru from having her secret exposed during a physical examination by measuring her chest himself, and in return, Subaru helps out Kinjiro by measuring his chest too to prevent the nurses from activating condition. Despite the considerable embarrassment that both of them are forced to go through, the two begin to bond as friends. Afterwards, while the two enjoy lunch together, Subaru falls asleep on Kinjiro's shoulder. Moments later, Kanade appears and thanks Kinjiro for helping Subaru finally find her first real friend. When Kinjiro returns home that day, he is shocked to learn that Kurei is actually in love with Subaru, who she still believes is a boy. The next day after school, Kurei confronts Kinjiro about him dating Subaru, but Kanade dismisses this by claiming that she is actually Kinjiro's girlfriend. To prove this, Kanade sets up a double date at the swimming pool with Kinjiro, Subaru, and Kurei. While Kurei and Subaru go on ahead, Kanade explains to Kinjiro that Subaru and her were once kidnapped for ransom when they were children, which has led to Subaru being deathly afraid of knives. Later that day, Kinjiro rescues a girl from drowning, but then passes out due to blood loss. While unconscious, Kinjiro thinks back to his hospitalized father, explaining that Kinjiro's name means "stand by me" and that he hopes Kinjiro will grow up to be a good man. When Kinjiro regains consciousness, Subaru receives a phone call from a strange man in a wolf mask who informs her that he has kidnapped Kanade and Kurei and plans to kill them if Subaru doesn't bring the ransom money to a specific place. After the kidnapper hangs up, Subaru immediately starts feeling inadequate as a butler due to being unable to protect Kanade once again. Seeing how shaken up she is by this, Kinjiro decides to knock her out and pursue the kidnapper on his own. But when Kenjiro meets the kidnapper, he's unable to land a single hit and is easily outmatched. Despite this, Kenjiro refuses to yield. Suddenly, Subaru arrives and defeats the kidnapper herself without letting her fear of knives hold her back. After saving Kanade and Kiriha, it's revealed that the kidnapper was actually Subaru's father, and this whole incident was orchestrated by Kanade in order to help Subaru overcome her fear of knives and her insecurities as a butler. Later that day, when Kenjiro regains consciousness after the beating he endured, Subaru tearfully begs Kinja never to risk himself again, as she doesn't want to lose her first real friend. However, Kiriha interrupts their moment and inadvertently reveals that Kanade was supposed to be going out with Kenjiro. Subaru immediately reacts with anger, forcing Kenjiro and Kanade to run away from both Subaru and Kiriha. Sometime later, while Kiriha is out fighting bears, Subaru shows up at Kinjiro's house dressed up with cat ears and a tail and asks Kenjiro if she can stay with him to be his temporary butler, because Kanade's father kicked her out of the mansion for the time being. Kenjiro reluctantly agrees, but since Subaru does not want him to lay around all day watching anime recaps, the two train inside a gym to pass the time, and Subaru proves to be too strong. Afterwards, Kenjiro decides to take a bath alone, but Subaru insists on joining him to wash his back. This moment is interrupted, however, when Kira returns home early from camp due to breaking her arm from wrestling a bear, and when she sees a woman's underwear in the wash basket, she furiously enters the bathroom and immediately passes out in embarrassment upon her beloved Subaru bathing with Kenjiro. When Kiriha regains consciousness later that day, she puts on a cute maid outfit just for Subaru. Kanade arrives moments later as well and decides to live with Kenjiro and act as his maid, which results in a brief competition between Subaru and Kanade to determine who's the better servant, but Kenjiro suddenly passes out from a cold. After Subaru attempts to treat him with several, very questionable cures, Kanade decides to finally explain the situation to Kenjiro by taking him to the beach. Once there, it's revealed that Subaru's father was also kicked out of the mansion due to an ongoing fight with Subaru because of the kidnapping situation. He blames Kenjiro for causing a rift to grow between him and his precious daughter, but Subaru arrives shortly after and declines to return to the mansion because she wants to take care of Kenjiro as she fears that she might lose him from an illness, just like her deceased mother. And despite being lightheaded from his cold, Kenjiro convinces Subaru to make amends with her father and return to the mansion together. At the end of their week off, a flustered Subaru thanks Kenjiro before leaving, and Kanade, who is secretly spying on them, notes that this is the first time that Subaru has thanked anyone other than her. Suddenly, Kanade kisses Kenjiro and says she'll always remember this first kiss. On the way to school sometime later, Kenjiro gets run over by a girl on a scooter, but he miraculously lands on his feet unharmed while the girl ends up on the ground. When Kenjiro asks to reach between her thighs and retrieve his glasses, she takes this the wrong way and attacks him in response. After Kenjiro retrieves his glasses, the girl introduces herself as Usami and reveals that she is a friend of Kiriha before leaping into the air and knocking Kenjiro out. If you are interested in a part 2, let me know down in the comments, and if you enjoyed watching the video, consider liking and subscribing for more like it. Thanks for watching.